Hour 2 on this Thursday, Dan and the Danettes, Dan Patrick Show. Hope you were with us in the first hour. Actually, if you weren't with us in the first hour, you may have benefited as well. I'm not quite sure what happened that first hour, but we were treated to a song that we didn't ask for, but Fritzy, in the middle of the night, woke up, wrote it down, and decided to perform it, and it had to do with the small market matchup that starts tonight in Oklahoma City. The Thunder and the Pacers. The Pacers are 9-point underdogs. And there is a chance. I hate when the media says somebody has no chance. They have no chance. Well, you do have a chance. If you're playing, you're still playing, you have a chance. You know who doesn't have a chance? The Knicks. They don't have a chance. They're out. Or the Celtics, or the Cavs, or the Nuggets. It's the Thunder and the Pacers. So you're saying there's a chance. And if history has taught us anything, it's this. You have a puncher's chance. That's all you ask. Now, it is 7 games. I think Indiana would have a better chance if it was a 1 game, one and done. And even this game here, like if Indiana's stealing a game, it feels like it would be this game. But they started out as a 9-point underdog, and the Sharps bet it up to now it's 9.5 there with OKC. But we've seen this before. If you go back, obviously the Jets with Joe Namath in Super Bowl III. And a lot of that had to do with, and here's something that maybe people don't follow when there's upsets. When you go, oh my God, how did that team beat that team? A lot of times, we don't focus on that other team. Being old enough to understand the Baltimore Colts in 1968-69, they were a powerhouse. You had Don Shula as their coach. Johnny Unitas. They had great defensive players. They're the Colts. They're in the NFL. And nobody gave the Jets any chance at all. They were 18-point underdogs. And then Joe Namath guaranteed they were going to win it. Well, the difference in the AFL at the time and the NFL was the AFL was about wide open offenses. And now, granted, the final score was 16-7. So it was about defense here. But it's because I don't know if the media, knew enough about the AFL as much as they were overwhelmed by the NFL. You go back to the Mavericks when they beat the Big Three in Miami. Okay, if you looked at the Dallas team, it was a really good team. You had the Big Three and you go, well, they have to win. Well, nobody thought about Jason Terry or Dirk Nowitzki going off in that series, and they ended up surprising them. The 2004 Pistons took down Shaq and Kobe. Eli Manning and the Giants when they beat the Patriots. And, part of the reason why when I went on David Letterman prior to that Super Bowl and said the Giants would win the Super Bowl was because they had already played the Patriots at the end of the regular season. And I thought, okay, we've taken the mystique out of this. Can the Giants beat the Patriots on a neutral site? And I truly felt that they could. And it turns out that their front four dominated, and Eli made a couple of plays. Now, this is different. The Pacers are a really good team. I think people now have come to that conclusion. But you go kicking and screaming because you're probably watching, you go, all right, that's kind of cute. Oh, yeah, okay, Halliburton, all right. Pascal Siakam, all right. Who's this Miles Turner guy? T.J. McConnell seems kind of spunky. Rick Carlisle, yeah, he looks like Jim Carrey. Yeah, we know all this stuff. But then you start to watch them play, and then you realize it's a quality team. OKC, to me, is a far better team, but far better doesn't always win. But a lot of times when you have the one, now, if the Giants play the Patriots 10 times, do I think the Giants win 7 or 8? No, I do not. Do I think they could win half the time? I do. If I looked at the Jets and the Colts, and if they played again, well, I still like the Jets, but I think with Don Shula, Johnny Unitas, and the Colts, would they figure out a way to counteract? Yes, I do. And maybe they win 6 out of 10. But all you have to do, if Gordon Hayward's shot goes in, Butler beats Duke. And that's an all-time upset. Also, when you talk about all-time upsets, the Giants beating the Patriots is an all-time upset because it was Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, and they were undefeated. That's what makes it even bigger, more important. The Jets beating the Baltimore Colts and Don Shula, Johnny Unitas. Like, you have to have that. When UCLA, back in the day, if they lost, it was huge because it was UCLA. But I think that also factors in as well. You know, you're not looking at OKC as, oh, my God, you know, they're the 72 Lakers. You're not looking at them that, you know, they're the Golden State Warriors. Because there's that unknown, and they haven't won championships before. OKC is a big, big favorite. Huge favorite. One of the biggest in the last 25 years. And they've earned it because they played this way. They played great. They've been consistent. But Indiana, I think, is 48-16 since the beginning of January. And you can say, okay, the East isn't as good as the West. Whatever your rationale is. But there's a chance. There's a chance. It's like the Pacers playing the Knicks. Well, the Knicks just beat the Celtics. Pacers have no chance. Knicks got home court advantage. Okay. What happens? Puncher's chance. Halliburton gets a shot to go. Oh, game 2. They're in for it now. They're going to get blown. Pacers win game 2. Wait. Now all of a sudden, oh, you know what? The pressure's on the Knicks, and because of all those fans that show up, and okay, whatever your excuse was, Indiana was a better team. But sometimes you'll look at and go, oh, man, what an upset. And then you realize it's not an upset. Yes, Marvin.
You mentioned the 2011 Dallas Mavericks that beat the Heat. Their coach,
Rick Carlisle.
Rick Carlisle.
Yeah.
Look, they were down 2-1, the Dallas Mavericks, to the Miami Heat. He put them in that zone defense, and the Heat did not know what to do. He completely out-coached and outclassed Eric Spoelstra in those finals. So he might be able to do it again against an unexperienced coach.
Yes, Paulie.
You know, we talked about this all throughout the Knicks-Pacers series, that the Pacers are just out-shooting them. I looked it up. The Pacers are overall the best shooting team in the entire NBA if you combine twos, threes, and free throws. And that could keep you in any series. I know they're great defensively, OKC, but you could shoot your way out of anything.
Yeah, and you could shoot your way into anything in today's NBA. That's why we have these huge point swings where you're down 20 with 10 to go and you come back. You know, the old NBA, that doesn't happen. But now, I mean, it just feels like it's commonplace. And maybe you get one of those moments. And if you're an Indiana Pacer fan, you need one of those moments. One of those moments where you win a game and maybe you shouldn't have. You got to put a little doubt into OKC. They haven't been here before. You got to have some doubt there. You got to make them go, Because for the most part, they haven't had. Now, keep in mind, Denver could be in the championship. I mean, Denver went 7 games with them. They are beatable, but you got to beat them 4 times. And that's the uphill climb. That's Mount Everest. To beat a team that has home court advantage, and you got to beat them 4 times. Yes, Marvin.
Yeah, the Pacers are going to need like another great Neesmith performance or an Andrew Nebhard performance where who had 30?
Yeah.
They're going to have one of those.